Some of you may have seen this story posted to the discussion board for homework number 3. This was done by one of your students. It's a really fun, creative gingerbread story. Let me run it for you here. It's an interactive story that's going to ask you a few questions, right? So this was homework 3. And first of all, this was something that I didn't even know you could do. This was kind of fun. This student noticed that if you actually go into the stage and you ask the stage to ask a question, that rather than having a sprite to ask it, the question and it comes up as a bubble, this just puts right down here with the place for the answer, the actual question. So the stage asks, would you like the story to take place in the country, the city, or the beach? So I'll say the beach. Do you want it to be a boy or a girl? Sure, a girl. What color? Green. Choose a number, 5. Choose another number, 3. And this person tells a lovely story where they've got, there was an old lady who lived alone on the beach, right? Because I picked beach. She got lonely, so she decided to bake a gingerbread girl. Right? And out comes a girl gingerbread with green piping, so it's responded to my story. And the gingerbread goes out and runs along the beach, and this gingerbread comes across 5 crabs, and here's a crab, and 3 starfish, and here is a starfish, right? And so I'm going to stop right there before we finish this up. And when I was looking at that, I thought, wow, this person has done some great work. This was fantastic. But I thought, what's really too bad is, since we talk about seeing 5 crabs and 3 starfish, it's really too bad on that last screen that we don't actually see 5 crabs and 3 starfish. And of course, the reason being, with what you know right now, you could make multiple crab costumes and starfish costumes and choose how many to show, but that's just ugly. But it turns out there's a really convenient, easy way when you're not going to ask those characters to do anything more or much more than simply show up on the screen. There's actually a really simple feature that will allow us to do that, and that's the stamp feature. Let me just show you the stamp feature in a blank window to begin with. So you'll notice maybe that under the pen menu, there's a button called Stamp. And what Stamp basically does is to imagine that your whole sprite is a rubber stamp, and it's going to stamp a copy right where you are. And so let me just show you the easiest way to show you that is when the green flag is pressed here, I want to send the cat to 0, 0. I want the cat to stamp, and then I'm going to have the cat jump out of the way, maybe go to 200 and 100. Right? And so watch what happens when we run this. You'll notice that the cat went to 0, 0. It made a stamp of itself. Actually, let's do this. Let's put a weight in there just so you could see it. Right? So we run, it makes a stamp, and then the cat itself moves out of the way. This is the active sprite right here at 200, 100, but it left just a graphical representation of the cat behind when we made stamp. And so it dawned on me, this is a really easy thing then to incorporate into the gingerbread man. If we come back over here to the crab, right, what I know, because I've read the code a little bit more, is that this right here is the code where the crab originally comes out on the beach. When it receives the beach command, it hides. It waits for 3 seconds. It goes to a particular location on the beach, and then it shows itself. Right? And so the idea would be, well, I want to stamp out some number of those crabs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Control, and I'm going to say Repeat. I want to repeat the stamping action some number of times. Well, the crab happens to be number 1, so I'm going to repeat. In my story a few minutes ago, I said 5 times, I want you to do something. So 5 times, I want you to stamp out the crab. But of course, if I run this right now, it's just going to make 5 crab stamps all in the same place. And so maybe what I can do is, after I stamp out of the way, I want to maybe change X by, let's say, -40. That sort of spreads them. As long as I'm not going to make too many crabs. I explored this earlier. I happen to know that -40 works pretty well here. And then I'm actually going to duplicate that, and I'm going to drag that over to the crab, or excuse me, to the starfish. Right? And so the starfish does a similar thing. When he receives the beach, he waits 7 seconds. And then what I want him to do is to repeat number 2 times, because the crab was number 1 and the starfish was number 2. And so if we run this now, you'll see it almost works the way I want it. There's actually a problem, and you'll see that here in just a second. So beach, boy, red. I'm picking just the shortest ones that I can get, 5 and 3. And so now we're telling the story. Once upon a time, she lives by the beach. Little old woman was so lonely she decided to pick a gingerbread boy this time. We get a red gingerbread boy because I picked different colors and gender. He runs out on the beach, and as he ran along the beach, he sees 5 crabs and 3 starfish. Now I'm going to stop right there real quick. Remember that I was supposed to see 5 crabs and 3 starfish. And if you look carefully, actually, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crabs and 4 starfish, right? So we have to actually go back and think, well, wait a minute, what did I do wrong? What do I need to modify here? Well, if you think about this, this said that I'm in the starfish right now. It said when I receive the starfish, the beach command, wait 7 seconds, then 3 times I want you to stamp out the starfish and move. And so what I actually get was 1, 2, 3 starfish stamped out, and then this is my actual starfish sprite here. So I have 2 real choices with this. Actually, there's probably more than 2 choices, but they're the 2 easiest ones here. One is, since there's always going to be the original, if I see 3 starfish, I only really need 2 stamps. And so what I could do is to say, take the number and subtract 1, right? 3 minus 1 is 2. 5 minus 1 is 4. And so I could actually stamp out 1 fewer than I need because the original is what I want. And that's one way to do it. The other way to do that is with the crab here, I could stamp out 5 crabs, and then the idea would be I could just simply hide myself at the end, right? So we'll actually see the 5 stamps, and the original crab will get hidden. And so that's a second way that you could accomplish this same thing. There's a third way, which would be you could swap these 2 numbers, actually, which means you move first and then stamp, and then the issue would be that the last starfish would be over the stamp of itself because you stamped after you moved. And so even though there's actually 4 on the board, you'll only see 3 of them because 2 overlap each other completely. So that's just a fun way to use stamp to kind of get some of this variability in here and make it do a little more like what you say.